All right, happy March 5th, everybody. I went back. I don't know how much I had to cut off the last one, so I went back a little bit. We are talking about the events of 9/11 and how they fit into a lot of prophecy and stuff that's been going on, and how all the news readers, along with all the political readers, are written things that are totally prophesizing things that have been foretold about the end of life as we know it, especially in America. So, on with the show. Remember, I love you all. I am everything, and everything is everything, which includes you, because you are everything, and everything is everything. All right? One love. Here we go.
Of 9/11, Middle East. The ancient Assyrians, when they carried out their attack, they did it through the language of Akkadian, which is extinct. But there's one language today that is the remaining or the sister language of Akkadian, and that's Arabic. And that is the same language that the terrorists of 9/11 accomplished the attack. So there's a whole bunch of stuff with it. But it does, and interesting, and it all goes back to the Middle East.
What does your gut tell you, Jonathan, about all of this? What do you think?
As far as where it's going?
Yes.
Yeah, well, my gut is that America, as it is going, is not turning, and I just like you said before, I don't see it. I mean, I don't see America turning as its mainstream culture.
Yeah, but American Idol's on, and it's March Madness. Come on, how are we supposed to pay attention to what's going on naturally or inside our own heads if we have all these awesome distractions of millionaires playing games or people who can't sing or can, coming up in the spotlight, so we all get to know who all these people are. Yay! Ruben stuttered. Yeah! I know all these people now. No, I don't, because I don't watch that shit. But, excuse me. I don't watch those things. For the nephews and nieces, my apologies. But, back to the show. Here we go.
Going in such a direction. It's been very consistent. However, within America...
If you have a smartphone, though, you don't have to be pandered to with all this nonsense taking you away from the reality of life in 2012. All right? You have a smartphone. You can connect to whatever information you want to connect to, be it right or wrong, good or bad, disgusting or enlightening. You can make your own future going forward. You don't have to listen to what everybody else says you should be paying attention to or watching things that you are supposed to watch. You watch whatever the hell you want to watch. You have only a certain amount of minutes on this planet, and it's all about how you decide to use them. Don't watch anything if you don't want to watch. Pay attention to none of it. Go out in the woods and just feel nature. Talk to the trees. Feel them. When's the last time you felt a tree or its leaves? There's energy in that. All right, here we go.
I think one of the things is that, and individuals are listening, it's the individual. People can turn. There can be spiritual revivals in the midst of it, even if the mainstream culture is going the other way. And the other thing is that sometimes people have said to me, well, what's going to be? Is it going to be judgment or revival? And the answer is it can be both. And in the midst of a nation, there can be a people who are turning.
Yep, that could be too. Let's go East Point, Michigan. Mickey's with us, first-time caller.
Good morning.
Hi, Mickey.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. I would like to ask two questions of your guest tonight.
Sure.
First of all, when the towers came down, there was a big plume of smoke that went up in the air, and people sort of said that it kind of looked like the devil up there in the sky. And then what your guest take would be on that. And then the other question would be, or is there a way to help turn this whole situation around? Would it be something like, those who are called to pray or maybe pray? And that would be the second question.
Good question. Okay, first with the image that I saw that, very interesting.
It was weird.
Yes, it was weird, and certainly, 9/11 is just filled with these weird things and these omen things, and certainly, it was satanic. I mean, these people who are driven to destroy people, destroy innocent people, civilians it's satanically driven. On the other hand, it's allowed. So you got two things going on: allowed for redemptive purpose. So you have two things. So certainly there is the satanic involved, without any question. And as far as the other thing. thing is, we mentioned, let's talk about the mystery ground and Solomon, and there is something that goes with an answer that goes back to that, because after Solomon prayed on that ground, and he must have seen a vision of what was going to happen, and there was going to be judgment. He got an answer. The Bible says he got a revelation, a word of prophecy, and in it says that the Lord said to him, "Well, Solomon, here's the thing: if they keep going their way, they're going to be destroyed. But he said, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their own evil ways, then I'll hear from heaven. I'll heal their land. I'll forgive their sin. I'll bring them redemption." So that is it's in 2 Chronicles. That's a key verse. So yes, prayer is always the key, and also it's not a thing of pointing the finger. The harbinger's not pointing a finger at anybody, but it's up to each of us. We have to be living it, and we have to be. Anything begins with the individual. So yes, and that is the key.
Okay, next up we go to Meridian, Mississippi. Phil's with us. Phil, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hey, not a problem, man. I love listening to the show.
Thanks,
My
Philip.
dad and granddad were part of the construction crews in New York in the late 60s and early 70s, and he said that there was a church there in the corner of Ground Zero in 1789, I believe, but until the late 60s, early 70s, that was all under the Hudson River. There was no church there. That was all underwater. All the land, the 16 or 18 acres that the Ground Zero sat on, was all underwater. That's all man-made land.
Okay, I'll answer that. The church was there from even before 1789. At St. Paul's. In fact, it's the oldest surviving church surviving building that has always been continuously used in New York City. As far as the other thing, it's what you were told is partially right. That there was landfill at the end of what did this. However, the beginning of that, which is where Ground Zero is, was actually a field. That was the very end of New York, and then beyond that is where they put landfill. So part of that is right there was the field, and it actually had a name, and it was owned by Trinity Church, which is the Church of St. Paul's. So it's partially correct that they filled in, but the actual land behind St. Paul's was there, the beginning of it, and that was Ground Zero. That was owned by the church.
But I've got pictures. I've got the actual plaques from the construction site hanging in my den. It shows that church is nowhere, is not near where the water is.
No, the church, you can go there today. And the church is right, the courtyard of St. Paul's is right at the corner of Ground Zero. And Ground Zero did exist. It wasn't water at the end of the church, so it did exist there. But it's absolute, because but beyond that was water.
Okay, thanks, Peter. Next up, we go to Queens, New York. Anson is with us. Hi, Anson. Thanks.
Hi, how you doing? Great show, guys.
Thank you.
Downtown
Okay, I have a comment and a question. Well, the question, first of all, is how great can this calamity be? What I mean by that is that here in New York, I see people attitudes getting worse all the time, and George has been talking about it for weeks, months now.
Yes.
How people's attitudes is out of control. Yesterday, I was at an intersection, I had the walk signal, and a guy almost ran me over. He didn't even get across the street.
And didn't care.
I had the walk signal. The people here in New York are going out of their mind. I mean, when they accelerate, when the red light changes green, you can hear the anger in the motor.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is here in New York. It's getting horrible. I'm planning the next 18 to 24 months to get out of here.
There's a tension everywhere, though.
Yes, I'd rather go somewhere peaceful,
all right, well, how about
quiet,
you watch where you're going before you get run over?
This distraction and all the mess.
Well, can we find one of these places, though?
You are responsible for your temple.
Because, listen to this. I just heard a couple hours ago that Atheist Society is going to post billboards tomorrow in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and Patterson, New Jersey, saying God is a myth. Now, if that's not a sign of doom and destruction, I don't know what is.
Oh, jeez.
God is a myth?
That's not going to go over too well.
Right.
I live right outside New York City. And just say every time I go in, there's a kind of a burden that comes on. When you leave, there's a relief.
Yeah, you had a question, Anson.
Yes, my question is, how bad do you see this thing being? Because I was reading about a Zulu prophet, Credo Muswa, interviewed a Zulu prophet who died some years ago, and he's saying that, just like the mind is saying that 2012 is the end of this age, not the end of the world, but the end of this era, as you know it, because of the greed, the lust for power is out of control, and there's going to be a change, a drastic change, and this calamity, like the Zulu prophet mentioned. I sent George a copy of the flyer a couple months ago, last year. I don't know if he got it. I don't know if you got it, George, but it's going to be a life-changing event, a life-changing calamity. The Zulu prophet was a vision that he had, a vision before he died.
I did get that.
And Credo Mutwa, David Icke has interviewed him many times. If you go to Credo Mutwa's website, Credo Mutwa is a Zulu shaman from South Africa.
All right, if anybody doesn't recognize, it sounds like Space Shuttle Endeavour from Opie and Anthony. Anyway, I'm surprised George hasn't hung up on him yet.
And that Zulu prophet was from South Africa. And the calamity
Get in there,
will be sometime this year.
See, and they're all saying the same thing. That's what's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Whether it's your book, The Harbinger, or the Book of Revelation, or a Zulu shaman, they're all saying the same thing, Jonathan.
Well, there's a sense, I think it's not only among these, there's a sense, that we are really in trouble. And, if you ask me, when they do polls, most Americans say we're not on the right course, but they're not doing something to change that course. And that is, there's a very, very clear biblical pattern and dynamic, and that's exactly what it is. And it cannot, if we don't change our course, then the destiny is not changed.
Let's go to Astatula, Florida on the wild card line. Thomas, it's your turn.
Jonathan?
Yep.
Pleasure to speak with you.
Likewise.
A thought. When it comes to
this is a time where you
your
start
thinking and your thoughts, you started with building and a brick or a block or a piece of stone, rough, and then becoming perfect. The rough and perfect Asher. Your conversation is Masonic. Whether you believe it or not, whether you are or not. What's the difference between change and correct?
What's the difference between, what was that?
Changing, everybody wants change. We have a president that was predicated upon change and correct.
Well, change is change for the sake of change. It means nothing. Hitler was change. Stalin was change. That's not what does something. It's what are you changing to? If you're changing from what is good or moral in another direction, then it's not good. So it's change. It's change towards morality. It's change to spirituality. It's change to God. And so it all depends. Change in itself, it's not it. It's the right change.
Jonathan, people read the book The Harbinger. Will it scare them?
Well, I think there is that element. What we found so far, and I'm not saying this is a plug, but people have said they can't put it down. They often read it in one sitting or two sittings.
They want to get to the end.
Yes. And by the way, the Harbinger is, with all that, the Harbinger is a book of hope, and it goes to the answers and the way and the whole thing as it gets to the end, because that's the whole point. So I think there is a kind of, whoa. It's a mixture between, I think, that, and I think so for some reason people have been excited about it, saying, wow, this is amazing. Because the other thing is, it's saying that it's not an accident. Things are under control. That's the other side. That there is an order. There is something that explains this. So that actually, more of the reaction is that. But it certainly has all that.
Okay, let's go to our Skype line. James in Denver, Colorado. Hey, James, thanks.
Hey, how you doing, George?
Good, Jim.
Oh, fantastic subject, like all of them you've been having for the last week. But anyway, yes, I can see the connection. We have a rabbi out here in Denver, Colorado, and his name is Rabbi Ralph Messer. Very interesting man, because he's opened my eyes so much with the days we're living in. And the days we're living in is what he explained. We do have a chance. And, he says it's like going back to the teachings of the Old Testament. Like in Exodus.
All right.
Basically, the teachings of our Heavenly Father.
He's talking about
teachings.
But
anyway, I see the connection because, yes, the United States can be basically...
Right. I love you guys.
I guess saved if we just go back to that teaching and instructions.
Hey, everybody wait now, some water.
Well, and that's the point.
Plenty of trail mix, get your protein in.
And the thing is that
you don't need so much meat.
Saying something that
all right, I love you guys.
You can choose this.